What's up? I'm here to discuss the internet's favorite subject, squirting. Actually, it's more like squirt. Squirt, not just a thing you can do with guns. Squirt, squirt. Female ejaculation, aka squirting. If you've been following me long enough, you know this is what made me internet famous to begin with. Shout out to my friend Trip. Anyways, it's been a few years since Trip and I got together and did that famous squirting video, so I thought I would issue a refresh, a reboot, and teach y'all how to make a woman squirt. Why would you want to make a woman squirt? Well, outside of the fact that it feels amazing, I also think that it looks cool. Like, she ejaculates. It's like, it looks like a man's orgasm. Like, there's just this thing that happens that confirms orgasm had. There's no faking it. You can't fake a squirting orgasm. It's the real deal. I think another reason that people should learn how to make a woman squirt is even if you can't last very long in bed or you weren't very well endowed from birth, you can more than make up for it quickly by making her squirt. You don't have to know a whole lot of fancy techniques. You don't have to be an amazing lover otherwise. You don't have to like speak French and chew on roses. You don't have to do much at all if you can make her squirt. If you can make her squirt, basically you'll be legendary in the bedroom and you will have her begging you for more. I can think of no other sex technique that can so quickly change your sex god status to legendary. And I'm here to show you exactly how. But first, if you are looking to learn how to last longer in bed, bring her to orgasm every time, and be unbelievably confident in your sex skills, you're going to want to check out my masterclass. Come when you want. It's 3.5 hours of step-by-step how to last longer, end premature ejaculation, and feel confident in yourself as a man and as a lover. And you can get it in the link in the description. Okay. But back to our regularly scheduled programming. Before we get into exactly how to make a woman squirt, let's answer the question, what is female ejaculation? What does it mean that women can squirt? What does it even mean that women do squirt? Number one, most important thing you need to know is that squirting, the ejaculate, the fluid, not urine. There's a lot of misconceptions and rumors out there. It's not urine. It's not made up of urine. It does sometimes have urine in it. But ejaculate, female ejaculate, is actually liquid that comes from the Skene's gland, which is sometimes called the female prostate, but it's really not the female prostate. It's the Skene's gland. It comes from the blood and is separated from the red blood cells in the Skene's gland and then released through the body, through the urethra, where it sometimes picks up some urine, and squirts out of the body. So it comes through the same channel as urine, but it comes from a different gland. It's actually liquid that the body exchanges from the blood. It's not bad to squirt. It's not unhealthy to squirt. It feels great to squirt, but it's some really vital stuff you gotta know. The other thing that is vital for you to know is that the Skene's gland is closely associated with the G-spot. The G-spot being stimulated is the key to the squirting orgasm. Now you can have a G-spot orgasm without squirting. You can squirt without having a G-spot orgasm, but we're going to try in this technique to bring those two things together for the ultimate, most pleasurable experience possible. A couple things you gotta know about squirting before we hop into it. It's very, very context dependent. That means that if the context isn't right, the squirting is not gonna happen. In other words, she needs to feel comfortable. She needs to be really relaxed. She needs to be able to have an orgasm, and she needs to feel comfortable enough with you in order to totally let go. Now, for some couples, this is from the first time that they have sex. You could be doing this. The sexual chemistry is there. The two people are just like in sync, on point. They both know each other. They both know their bodies really well. They're able to have great sex. But let's be real. Most of us, the first time they were having sex with another person, it's still sort of awkward. You're kind of like feeling each other out. Maybe not the best time to go for the squirting orgasm. And alternatively, if you're in a situation where there's a lot of pressure, parents or kids in the next room, who knows, dirty dishes in the sink, relationship is on the rocks. Like, there's a lot that goes into setting the appropriate stage for a woman to squirt. And if she's never had an orgasm before, this might be a challenging orgasm for her to experience for the first time. How to make a woman squirt. Number one, set the scene. Context, context, context. It is so important here. It's probably the most important thing. She needs to be comfortable. She needs to be able to relax. She needs to be very, very present with you, and you've got to be present with her. That means that if your parents or the kids are in the room next door, or if she's somehow worried that she's got an appointment she's got to get to later in the day, or you're having a fight in your relationship, those are all contextual factors that might prevent her from being able to squirt. Therefore, what do you need to do to make her feel comfortable? Well, make sure you have plenty of time. Start with some massages if you're comfortable with that. Massage out knots in her body to kind of get her in the mood. A slow buildup of foreplay. And even before then, one, you're going to want to make sure that your fingernails are trimmed. Yeah, because we're going to be doing some pretty heavy fingering later. These bad boys gotta go. Number two, you might want to make sure that she has taken a shower and used the restroom, mostly for her own comfort and her own ability to relax. Not all women need to take a shower to feel sexual, but it can certainly help, and it can help for you too. And using the restroom will make it less likely that she feels like she needs to pee, and therefore she'll be more likely to be able to relax and let go later. Oh, and make sure that you have a couple towels and possibly some lube handy, because you're not going to want to walk away after the squirting happens. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. All right, after the scene has been set, put her mind at ease by reassuring her that you're okay no matter what happens. If she accidentally pees, no big deal. You've got her. You still love her. Her pleasure matters. Also, take away some of the pressure on her. Like, I want to see if we can make this happen, but it's okay if we can't. I'm here with you. Let's just have some fun. No pressure. No concerns about peeing. Reassuring her that it's okay to let go and let it happen. So the scene is set. You two are synced up with each other, and you've reassured her that any outcome is perfectly okay with you. Next is to make sure that she is aroused. Now, if she is multi-orgasmic, if she's already capable of having multiple orgasms, it's great for her to have already had at least 1 or 2 orgasms at this point. It's not absolutely necessary, but it certainly does help. The most important thing is that she needs to be aroused. This is not something that you can go for after a couple minutes of foreplay or a few minutes of having sex. We're talking like 20, 40, even 60 minutes into sex, which is why you need to be able to last. Go get my program. Go get the masterclass. Get it. After 20, 40, 60 minutes of building up her arousal, her G-spot, which is located on the inside wall of the vagina, if you were to take your fingers into her vagina, the G-spot would be hitting your finger right here if you're facing her. So like ding, 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 ding. It's sort of on the inside of the clit. If you imagine like the clit is on the outside of the body, the G-spot's on the inside of the body. After she's properly aroused, her G-spot is going to become engorged, filled with blood. If you finger her without her being aroused, you'll feel that the G-spot is there. It feels sort of like a little nub. It's like slightly different than the skin and the sensation, like the feeling underneath the skin. Getting a little technical here, but the G-spot is actually not a spot. It's a tube, and you can actually feel it like a little tube. Protects the urethra on the inside of her body. But if she's engorged, if she's aroused, that tube fills with blood and is like a sponge. And that's when it feels like a spot, like a bean, like a nub on the inside of her vagina. So if she's properly aroused, you'll be able to put a couple fingers in there and actually feel the spot itself. And that is when you know it's okay to get started using this technique. So once you found that bumpy, spongy G-spot, you're going to start to work it in a come here motion. Slowly, with consistent strokes, building up speed and pressure over time. You might want to do some exercises, gentlemen, because this can get a little tiring. And you know, I said gentlemen, but really what I meant is everyone, because I've done this to women. So women can do this to women, men can do this to women, anyone can do this to anyone who has a G-spot and anyone who has the arm muscles, which I obviously do, to make it happen. So proud of you. All right, we're working up slow pressure. Optional to use the thumb on the outside on the clit. Working up pressure, working up pressure, working up pressure and speed, moving quicker and quicker and quicker, starting to pull the wrist outside of her body. So the G-spot is here. You're starting to pull it, putting additional pressure on it, putting additional speed on it. And then when she's pretty close to coming, when you can see the telltale signs that she's reaching orgasm, the breath, the flush of her skin, the movement of her body and her hips, like there's a series of signs that you can see that a woman is about to reach orgasm. That is when you want to go in with this technique and be prepared. The reason that you want to wait until she's pretty close to orgasm is because this can be pretty intense for you, the person who is delivering this orgasm through your muscles. So you're going to want to be ready. All right. At the point where she is very close to orgasming, what you are going to do is, keeping these 2 fingers on the G-spot, you are going to begin to shake vigorously, not from the wrist, but from the arm. Holding your wrist tense and shaking hard. You are going to need to go vigorously, very hard. Trust me, the vagina can take it. Ask her to tell you otherwise. If it gets to be too much, she can communicate that. But otherwise, you will be surprised, especially in the heat of the moment when people are really aroused, your pain tolerance goes up. She will be able to take a lot of pressure. So you're going to build pressure, and she should be squirting within a few seconds if you timed it correctly. I have seen women, I suppose I could just tell you the story. One time I was at an orgy, and there was a woman there who swore up and down she could not have a squirting orgasm. And she was pretty experienced. I really trusted her that she knew her body and that she was not able to reach a squirting orgasm. And once this technique was applied to her, she started squirting immediately. It was basically like, oh no, I can't have a squirting orgasm. Oh really? It's pretty magical. It's pretty powerful. What I've just handed you is actually probably the most powerful technique that you can use. Let's also tell you exactly how to finish it out. So after she starts squirting, don't stop. You're going to want to ride that pressure until about the climax. Keep it going until she's through the majority of that orgasm. And even then, you're going to want to maintain connection and a bit of pressure on the G-spot and perhaps on the clit even after she's had the orgasm. It can feel very disruptive if you have this orgasm and then right when you're having it, that hand is pulled away or removed. It can actually sort of interrupt her pleasure. Now, not all women are the same on this, but that is a good sort of standard to maintain, that you want to help her ride out that orgasm and then actually ground it on the other side with a little bit of pressure. Women's orgasms are slightly different than men's in that case. Like, men often want not to be touched immediately after they've finished having their orgasm, but women, our orgasm can kind of keep going if there's a bit of pressure that is still in place. All right, what to expect after she squirts? Well, number one, there could be an emotional reaction. Crying, laughter, being stuck to you like a magnet. I've seen it all. It's because a squirting orgasm is a pretty intense experience. A lot of the times there's been a lot of tension built up, perhaps for years, and there's been fluid built up. And you release all of that. It can have some emotions, joyous, sad, whatever. It can just have a lot of weight to it. And so you can be a great partner by being there for all of it and just not leaving her side, helping her experience that. Now, often you'll find that she actually can have another squirting orgasm and another one and another one. Especially if it's new and she found it to be pretty easy to get there, you can try to give her a second one. I know the first time this happened for me, I was like, can you do that again? Like right now, please? Like, I would like to continue to do that until I cannot do it anymore. That was awesome. But what if it didn't work? What if you just applied this technique and you didn't get the result that I just described? Well, couple things could be happening. Context might not be there. Trust that you're going to be able to hold that space for her might not be there. The strength and the vigorousness that you need might not be there. She also might just not feel comfortable enough to let it go. It is a huge let go. More than a squeeze and make it happen. This orgasm is more like the kind that you have to relax and allow to happen to you. And some women just find that to be very, very challenging. She might be able to bring herself to a G-spot orgasm by using a toy that is shaped so that it can go inside of the vagina. Now I changed my direction. A toy that is shaped like this so that it can go inside of the vagina and hit the G-spot. She can masturbate herself using that toy, bring herself to squirting orgasm, and then show you exactly how she needs you to do it to get her there. But fear not, even if it didn't work the first time, keep trying, establish great communication, maybe get better at giving massages beforehand. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. The more relaxed she can be, the better experience it can be for both of you. What have we learned here? Squirting orgasm, one of the peak sexual experiences available to men and women and all people who have G-spots. It's very important to know the context around which you are having sex. That is the single greatest factor that can predict whether or not she's going to be able to have a G-spot orgasm. Being aroused is incredibly, incredibly vital first step, as well as having a good communication about what to expect and that everything is a-okay. Followed by my particular technique with the come here motion, followed by the vigorous shaking, followed by holding pressure and staying present with her throughout the duration of the experience, whether that's one orgasm or until she's completely dry and has no more left to give. And that's it. That is how to give a squirting orgasm. Please write in the comments what you thought, and if you had any other additional advice or things that have worked for you on making women squirt. And don't forget to check out Come When You Want, my masterclass on lasting longer in bed. I'm Caitlin B. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye and happy squirting.